All right. Welcome everyone to our meditation and breathwork workshop where we are going to be exploring the in-between. And if you don't know what that means, totally fine. Honestly, I'm exploring it with you. I found this concept of what happens in between all the things that we do in our lives just very fascinating. So I'm basically just living the question, like, what does it mean to explore the in between? Because we use that phrase a lot, I think, as a catch all term for, oh, like I'm going to bring fruit and burgers and everything in between to the party. Or you're driving from one place to the next, and sometimes we don't even remember exactly where we've just been. So the idea here is going to be about getting more present and more conscious from moment to moment so that we can thread and bridge all that is in between, which truly makes up our lives and all of who we are better together through breath and meditation in particular today. So I mentioned this to a few of you who came on earlier, just as we're settling in here. If you have a journal, go ahead and grab that and a pen. I'm sitting on the ground. You're welcome to sit in a comfortable seat. We will be doing today's practice in a seat. If you want to stand at some points, there might be time for that too. But generally, we'll be seated for the next about 40 minutes or so together. Let's see, what else do I want to tell you? I'm recording this on both Instagram and on Zoom, so trying out the tech there. So if I'm managing things, I'm doing that in the background. And then before we get started, it's always nice to introduce myself. For those of you who are unfamiliar to me, welcome to this space. My name is Katie McMullen. I have been practicing yoga for over a decade now and teaching for over 3 years. I'm certified in several different types of yoga, some of which you will experience today include energy medicine yoga, which is one that a lot of folks haven't tried, so you'll get a taste of that. And we're also going to be using some Kriya meditation, which is a special type of breath work that essentially acts as this evolution in action is one way that it's translated. Another way to think about it is very specific breath work. They use it in Kundalini practices. They come to us from northern Himalayan territories over in India. And essentially, they help to accelerate your path to enlightenment. So a lot of times we understand meditation and breathwork as a pathway to achieving something called samadhi or nirvana or enlightenment, which is the highest state, the purest state of ourselves, where we feel that oneness and that connection. I personally think we all get glimpses of this throughout our lives, those moments that you feel like everything is in flow and connected. And so these practices help us to get back to that place more and more regularly so we can try to sustain that longer and longer. And so that's what all of the masters, of meditation and gurus, their whole lives are dedicated to that. And so today we're going to have a little taste ourselves. So please at any time feel free to put questions in the chat and the comments, and I will do my best to keep up with that. If you can't hear me at any time, definitely wave or shout it out, and we can fix that. And let's begin. Yeah, feeling ready? So find a nice comfortable seat. Like I said, you can be in a chair or on the ground with me. And we are going to start first just by waking up the body with a practice called the Energy Medicine Yoga Wake Up. Some of you have done this with me before, and it's always good to do it again. Repetition is key. It's something I practice every single day. So we'll start by taking a breath in your nose and out the mouth. 2 more times. A nice big sigh here. Beautiful. Keep breathing in the nose and out the mouth for the next several minutes as we move through the 4 parts of our Energy Medicine Yoga Wake Up. So we'll start by finding the pointy parts of your collarbones just here, and then slide your peace fingers an inch over and an inch down to feel the little divot. You'll start to massage or tap these points, breathing out the mouth and in your nose. Ah, nice big sigh, let it out. So for the next few minutes, we're going to move through several different points that we're tapping and massaging on the body and working with your energetic field. So this is the electromagnetic energy that is coming off of your body at all times and gives you that sense of presence, that aura. One more breath on these points. Awakening your kidney meridian line here. Next, we'll tap the center of your chest, the sternum bone. I like to make a fist and really give it a good thump here. You're welcome to just massage in a circle or even practice this tapping a couple inches off the body in the field. Breathing out the mouth, in the nose. So here we are announcing our presence. When we tap the center of your chest, it's really saying, I am here, right? Like, this is me. We are strengthening that sense of identity, your auric field. We are also working with your immune system and stimulating the thymus gland just underneath the sternum bone. One more breath here. So good. The third tap we'll work with is right along the side body. So if you place your hand in your armpit and tuck the thumb up into the underarm, right where your pinky falls along both sides of the body, that's just about where we're going to be tapping. You can't miss it. It can be nice to make a little beak with your fingers or maybe use the heel of your hand, whatever's comfortable. So again, you can tap or you can massage. Sometimes massaging in between the ribs here feels really nice. It might be sore if you haven't worked with these points ever or in a little while. So these points are associated with your spleen meridian, and make sure you're breathing out your mouth. Still, I can see some of you. Good. These are the spleen meridian points, and they help us to digest information, to digest physical food. You only have one spleen, but when we work with energy, most of the energy lines in your body, known as meridians from Chinese medicine, have two systems, two channels running up and down both sides of the body. So we work with both. One more breath here. Good. Shake the hands off a little bit. The fourth thump is right underneath your eyes. So bring your peace fingers just underneath the eyes in this thin skin here. Be really gentle. You're tapping right on that cheekbone or orbital bone right underneath the eye. You can also just hold the points here. That can feel really nice as well. So take a few breaths in the nose and out the mouth. It might feel nice to take this tapping towards the outside of your eyes, over the eyebrows, coming down towards the bridge of the nose, and then following that in reverse, coming back to the outside of the eyes, landing underneath once again. Two more breaths here out the mouth. These points are associated with your stomach meridian, and it's very grounding to work with these points here. If you're spending a lot of time on your computer or outside of nature, feeling nauseous or just in your head, use these points. At the bottom of your next exhale, just allow your hands to fall into your lap, and we'll take a breath together in stillness and silence. Beautiful. You can blink your eyes open if you close them and bring the hands towards the shoulders. We'll move into the second part of our wake up. Still breathing out the mouth. You're going to tap the same hand to the same thigh. Just for a breath or two. Same hand to same thigh, just tapping, homolateral tapping. Good. And then wipe your hands together, just shake that off a little bit. Now we're going to cross over the midline of the body for several breaths out the mouth. So when you're ready, you can join me tapping opposite hand to opposite leg. This can be small or big. So why are we doing this? To help connect the right and left sides of your brain and to help all of your energy move in a way that it wants to. Energy loves to move in patterns. And when we do the same routines, we drive to the same places, we stay sitting for a long time during the day, we get stuck in that homolateral track, that linear track. And here we're just helping our brain and our body to rewire moving energy in flow. Good. Finish up that exhale. And then you're going to stack your hands right above your pubic bone or underneath your belly button. So your palms are facing the body stacked over one another. I like to close my eyes here, and this is a great place to set your intention. So, an intention is anything that you want to attract into your space from this practice right now. I will offer for all of us the intention that we are consciously practicing exploring the in between, becoming more present. When you're ready and you have your intention, you'll inhale as you slide the palms up the center line of your body, flipping the palms towards the sky at your chin. Lift your arms up overhead and then extend the hands out, exhaling, bringing that intention into your field. Good. We'll do that 2 more times to zip up, sealing in your intention. And then exhale, press the palms, flex the palms out into the field. Following your breath. Beautiful. And then we're going to lock it all in. I like to imagine this like those Ziploc bags where we've sealed everything in, and now we want to give it a little extra lock, an extra seal in. You're going to take one middle finger to your belly button, the other middle finger to your third eye between your eyebrows. Gently press in and up, and inhale through the nose, exhale out the mouth 3 times. One more. And at the bottom of that exhale, you can bring the hands down to your lap. Whew. All right. So hopefully you're feeling a little bit more awake and centered. That whole sequence is part of the Energy Medicine Yoga Wake Up, and you're going to have the recording to do it whenever you want. At this time, I would like to invite you to get your journal or your pen and your paper. You also can put this in the comments if you want as well. Reflect on this question just for a few moments. What does it mean to you to explore the in-between? When you hear those words, explore the in-between, what does it mean for you? Other words for in between are in the middle, caught in the middle. And for those of you who are journaling, if you want to share in the comments anything that's coming up, I'm definitely very curious because I think all of us have such unique and beautiful perceptions, even just with a single word, right? The way that I experience and hear and transform in my brain the words in between is very different than your experience. Though it might be similar, we might have overlap. I've been meditating on this quite a bit. And the first time that I thought about, ooh, what's in between? And still too, my mind keeps going to that thing we call the in-between, like especially in between life and death, right? Like that caught in the middle space, and there's a lot of words for that. Um, but also we can just be in between relationships. Anytime that we are looking at two things, those are in relationship, whether it's about ourselves and another person, ourselves and a thing, ourselves and a goal that we have, or when you're considering, two other people or two things outside of yourself, then all of a sudden you have this option, this space that's created for things to be in between each other. Um, so I would argue that we are all always in the middle, that we are all always in between something, in between a decision, in between emotions, relationships. So we have a couple of comments I'll just share. Let's see. So exploring the space in between to me means concentration and existence, and even the space without expectations. No expectations. Ooh, I like that. So when we create that space, it's neutral ground. Am I understanding that right? It becomes this truly just opportunity, a blank canvas, creating a pause and a gap where we get to choose what to put into it. There's no expectation. Ooh, beautiful. Getting a little, that makes me excited. Um, and we also have exploring the in-between means to me, finding an anchor in the present moment. Beautiful. Yes. We're going to actually really get into that right now through our breath. How can we be more anchored in the present moment so that we can create that neutral space where we get to have that pause and that gap? So, enough talking, right? Let's do a little more breathing. Okay. So we've just had a little bit of a wake up. Right now, I'd love for you to just take any little wiggles, any little movements, because we've already been sitting for a few minutes. Take any wiggles if you want to stand up and shake it out. That can feel really nice. Just preparing the body to be seated for a little bit longer here as we move into our next breath practice. All right. So if you're still moving, start to invite stillness back into your body. And this is sort of like active stillness. We're not trying to be exactly statues here. That's not the point, but to invite stillness so that you can bring in more consciousness to this moment. All right. So our next breath practice, this is one of those kriyas that I mentioned, where we are accelerating, taking a super highway essentially towards enlightenment. So these are really beautiful. This one is called prana apana or prana apana. We're going to use two mudras or hand positions for this practice. Why do we do that? Our mudras essentially connect energy circuits in the body, and it's ultimately very calming and helps us to tap into different organs, energy centers within your being. So the first one that we'll work with is for prana. Excuse me, we're going to do this one first. So this is called the prana mudra. You connect the pinky and the ring finger on both hands with your thumb. Okay, so you can see this. It's almost like you're giving a peace sign, but you'll keep the index finger and the middle finger together. Okay, so that's prana. We're going to use this mudra when you're breathing in on your inhale. The second mudra looks like, I call it a llama. It's like a llama face. So you're going to connect the middle finger and ring finger to the thumb. All right, beautiful. So it kind of looks like a llama face. This is the apana for grounding. So our practice will use our breath in and out the nose. And so on an inhale, you can rest your hands on your lap. I'm just going to hold them up here so you can see them. You'll inhale in the prana mudra, pinky and ring finger connected. And as you exhale, flip the hands into the apana mudra, the llama, middle finger and ring finger connected to the thumb. Inhale prana, exhale apana. Inhale prana, exhale apana. So just flipping the hands as you breathe, changing these mudras. Prana to inhale, apana exhale. As you become more comfortable with the breath here, you can close your eyes and gently bring that gaze to your third eye, the space between your eyebrows. Inhale prana, exhale apana. Inhale life force, exhale ground down. Keep going with this pattern, maintaining your awareness at the third eye. We'll do 5 more breaths here. Prana, apana. After your next exhale, just release the technique. Allow your hands to rest comfortably in your lap. You can keep your eyes closed and feel what has shifted in your mind, in your body. Prana apana invites balancing the energies of the earth and of the heavens. So it's very centering, clarifying. You might feel that your sense of self has expanded beyond your body. We're creating more space so that you can be here now. You're welcome to keep your eyes closed for this practice, this next breath work. It's also a meditative kriya. So we are going to work again with your breath for several minutes. And I will preface this by saying, after we do this breath work, I'll do a little guided meditation to get you even more into your body, if you can imagine that. And then we'll have a silent meditation, which I will cue as well. So that's where we're headed. I'll introduce this next kriya. It's called Sukha Shunya. It's very beautiful. Sukha Shunya is the Sanskrit name, and it's a very sacred practice. So I encourage you to approach it with that sacredness, some of which we've already cultivated with prana apana. So this is also a unifying breath, a centering breath, and expansive experience. It translates to 8-part breath. So it might take a little bit of practice, and that's okay. We're doing it together, right? So you're going to breathe in 8 parts, alternating between inhaling through the nose and through the mouth. And also on your exhale, you'll alternate through the nose and through the mouth. So we'll do 1 or 2 together so you can really kind of feel that. Your hands can just rest in your lap comfortably. So Sukha Shunya, your eyes will be closed. You can keep them open right now if you want to. I will, just to make eye contact with you guys right now. All right, so we'll start by inhaling through the nose, then inhale through the mouth. And so you're alternating 4 times. Nose, mouth, nose, mouth, nose, mouth, nose, mouth. And then hold the breath in if you're not pregnant. And then exhale out the nose, out the mouth, out the nose, out the mouth, out the nose, out the mouth, out the nose, out the mouth. Hold the breath out for as long as comfortable if you're not pregnant. And then we do it again, inhaling, alternating. Inhale through the nose, mouth, nose, mouth, nose, mouth, nose, mouth. Hold it in at the top. Exhale out the nose, out the mouth, nose, mouth, nose, mouth, nose, mouth. So you can start to get into this rhythm, silently counting in your head to 8. And this is a very quiet practice. So as you're sipping the air in through your mouth, it's very quiet. So I'm going to join you now in this practice. And if you lose count, it is absolutely okay. Just meet yourself where you are and begin again. Keep breathing, alternating nose, mouth, nose, mouth, nose, mouth, nose, mouth on both the inhale and the exhale. As you do this, bring your gaze to the third eye with your eyes closed. We'll take one more full cycle in and out. Wherever you are, just take another full cycle. And after that exhale, just find your comfortable, easy breath, keeping your eyes closed and your gaze at the third eye. Observe the space that you've created. What has shifted now? Perhaps there's tingling somewhere in the body, or just a sense of expansion off of your skin, being able to sense all that is around you, behind you, in front of you, above and below. So you've created space in your body, your mind, and your energy field just by using your breath. Now we'll use your mind's awareness to help feel this in your body. So staying right where you are, or if you need to extend one leg or both legs to be more comfortable, you can do that. And then bring all of your awareness to your right foot. Count each of the toes on your right foot. Become aware of your right ankle. No need to move it. Just bringing your awareness to that space in your body. your right calf, the right knee, the right thigh, your right butt cheek, your left butt cheek, your left thigh, bring your awareness to your left knee, the left calf, your left ankle, your left foot. Count each of the toes on your left foot. Your whole left leg, your whole right leg, both legs together. Bring all of your awareness to your low back, the tailbone, the sacrum, your middle back, the back side of your rib cage, bring your awareness to the upper back, the space between the shoulder blades, the back side of your heart, your right shoulder, your upper right arm, the right elbow, the right forearm, the right wrist, the right hand. Count each of the fingers on your right hand. The whole right hand. The whole right arm. Bring your awareness to the right chest, the right side of your rib cage, your whole right side. Send your mind awareness to your belly. And then to the left rib cage. The left chest. Your left shoulder. The left upper arm. Your left elbow. the left forearm, the left wrist, the left hand. Count each of the fingers on your left hand. The whole left hand. The whole left arm. The entire left side of your body. Bring all of your awareness to your heart center. To your throat. To your jaw. Your ears. And the space between your ears. The back of your neck. The back of your head. The top of your head. Forehead. The space between your eyebrows. The space behind your eyes. Bring your awareness to your nose. Take a deep breath in your nostrils and feel the air, the qualities of the air that is coming into your body. And let it all go. Take a few breaths here, just in silence and stillness, in this beingness. And now I'll share a short poem from Rainer Rilke or Rilke. Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves. Like locked rooms and like books that are now written in a very foreign tongue. Do not now seek the answers which cannot be given you, because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer. And so just as we started this practice, we end with a question, with the question of what does it mean to explore the in-between? And I don't think we really need an answer because we just experienced it. I'd love to invite you again to journal when you're ready. If you're still in meditation, please just enjoy that space. But I encourage you when you're ready to pick up your pen and to journal, to allow whatever messages are coming through your body during that body scan. If something came up, sometimes our body likes to talk to us that way and say, hey, look at me, linger on my left knee for an extra moment. Make a note, make a note of that. If you had any other visions or messages coming through, or simply things you want to remember from this practice, write it down. And if anybody wants to share in the comments at all, I'm always, like I said before, just curious, right? Like we all have these very different experiences. And when we share, it helps that bridging, that threading together all that is in between, like we talked about before. Just we're always in relationship with each other, with our experience, with ourselves, and sharing that often helps us to connect to living that question a little bit more. Um, I also like to think about when we engage in these practices together as a community, um, like how all of you have joined either on Instagram or on Zoom today. It's so beautiful, the collective energy. Like I definitely feel more expanded now in this space, and I hope that you do too. I'd love to hear from you. Um, and I think that when we do it together, we especially see what is possible. Like when we engage in these practices as a group, the energy builds on itself in a way that is hard to put words to. You might have heard it called like the collective energy, um, or how like prayer works, right? In any kind of religion, if they get together and everyone focuses your energy on praying for one thing, one person, one group, um, all that energy goes into one place. And a lot of times it works because when we focus on that collective energy on one thing, it expands the reach of it. So, um, just speaking about community a little bit, because this is a mini taste today of what it's like to take time for yourself in a community, even if it's in this virtual community, to reflect, to grow, and to learn from each other. This is the kind of experience that you get anytime that you're on a retreat or in a workshop, in a class. Like, always encourage you to join these free spaces. Absolutely. And I also wanted to invite each of you here to continue this exploration in a deeper way on the in between retreat. So, like I mentioned at the beginning of this, uh, I am also exploring what it means to explore the in between because there's so much every single day when I'm driving around now. It's constantly on my mind. Just what does it mean to be in the space between? There are songs about it, there are albums about the in between, and there's just so much that we could talk about. Even in the breath work that we did today, like, how interesting is it to break up your full inhale into 8 parts? What? Like, what is that? And how did that work? It created this like in between with each inhale and exhale. I was like, what's happening in between each of these little parts? This week, I wrote an email to my email community, which I highly encourage you to get on if you're not, because talk about some interesting things on there about how um, in between 0 and 1, you have an infinite number of um, ways that you can relate 0 and 1, where in math, we look at those as fractions and decimals, right? Um, but then if you take the space between 0 and 2, it becomes a larger number of infinite possibilities. It's kind of a brain teaser, right? Because infinite means, limitless, boundless. It's infinite. We all know what that means, right? So how can you have a bigger infinity? And then if you think about between 0 and a million, how many infinities are within that space? And so this concept is not my own. I'm definitely borrowing this and sharing it from John Green's book, A Fault in Our Stars, which came out a while ago, book turned movie. Brilliant, sad, recommend it. Um, and he actually took it from other mathematicians from the past who were engaging in this kind of thought, the kind of thought that doesn't have a clear answer. It's that living the question that Rilke talks about in a lot of her poetry. And um, I studied math in college, and I think it's brilliant. I also studied art, and there is an art to the numbers, like in that just thought pattern of if there are different sets of infinities, like one infinity is bigger than another infinity. That's one of the quotes from A Fault in Our Stars. Then anytime that you are relating to something else, whether it's in a relationship with another person, in a relationship with your intention, the goal that you're setting for yourself, for your life, to literally just make dinner. That was the example we used too in the emails this week. There's literally infinite possibilities between you and that thing at any given moment. I'm going to say that again because sometimes it's a big thing to realize between you and your goal or you and dinner, there's an infinite number of possibilities for the way that you can get there, for the way that it can look like. Earlier, someone commented about how exploring the space between is doing so without expectation, or we create this space to just let be what is, where maybe we can have a little bit of a, oh yeah, I'd love to have some curry tonight for dinner. Okay, I'm just going to let that be there. And then how am I going to get to that place? Your brain kind of sorts it out. Like maybe throughout the day, maybe you end up at the grocery store or something like that. But there's maybe not so much expectation when we can recognize that there's hundreds of ways, maybe thousands, to make curry, probably millions. Um, so these are just like, they seem like silly examples, but I'm using them because one, they're relatable, and two, our brain can process it a little bit. We have to give equal airtime to all of the possibilities when we start down a certain path. So anytime that you're like um, setting a goal for yourself, it is only fair that we give equal airtime to both the positive outcomes and the negative outcomes. To me, that is part of what exploring the in between looks like, because you are exploring everything that could happen between you and that thing and giving it a fair assessment, because we don't know how exactly it's all going to happen. Sometimes we like to think that we know how, but it's always a surprise. So this is pretty philosophical, little metaphysical, my personal favorite space to just like be in. You're just getting my brain right now. This is what goes on in my head all the time. So we got on a little tangent. I'm gonna just reel it back in here to get y'all back to work if this is your lunch break and everything. That I'm inviting you to join me on this type of exploration, both in your body, to create that space in the body and in the mind, and also to take it a step further, to go beyond what it means to be in between, to have these interesting discussions over delicious meals for a few days, to have these types of conversations while we're hiking. One of my other favorite ways to talk about the in between or think about it right now is like, I'm a big hiker. So anytime I start a hike, I can visualize the top of the mountain. If you've been to the top of a mountain before, you kind of know what that feels like. So sometimes it's easy to say, oh yeah, like I know what that's like. I can put myself on top of a mountain. Every single time it's different though. And even if you know what it's going to be like at the end, when you're at the top, and then when you have to come back down to the car, and you feel tired and maybe you're excited to go home and shower, the person that you become on that journey every single time is different. I might have the same thoughts like, why did I do this again? Or why did I not pack more water? But it's for that journey that engaging in that becomes so interesting and valuable. Like it's part of that growth. It's everything that happens in between the start and the finish. So on this retreat that's coming up in September, we're going to be doing all of these things and more, other kinds of workshops. There will be about 10 other people with you who are also interested in exploring this through movement, through conversation, through even just sitting together in silence, because frankly, we get a lot more out of that than we all realize. Talk about creating space and pausing. Sitting in silence together is beautiful. I actually just did it this weekend. This is going to surprise you, with a group of teenagers. I volunteered at this youth leadership conference. It was 3 days, all 16-year-olds from around my home state of New Hampshire, and there's over 100 of them, and I had a group of 11 of them. And I was so surprised that we had some downtime, like in between sessions, and I am very comfortable with silence, and we all just sat. Some of them picked up their phones for a little while, but after a few minutes, they put it down and we all just sat like looking around outside. Just that space to get bored almost, or that space to move through the boredom. Because eventually one of the students said, who wants to play a game? And then we had this beautiful experience doing games and it was awesome. But we had that, I don't think that would have happened if there hadn't been like this pause. All right, let me wrap this up because I can clearly talk forever about these things. I love it. Um, and my invitation to you right now is to join me for a longer experience of this for 3 days in the White Mountains of New Hampshire in September, which honestly is just like the most beautiful time to be up here. It's still warm. It's like late summer. We'll get some of the early foliage in late September too, up in the White Mountains, doing yoga, meditation, hiking, having the best food. That was one of the big highlights of the last retreat from April, was like the food was so good. Shout out to Candy from Blossom Yoga. She is joining us again. And we'll be having some seasonal food. So think like all the stuff you can harvest in the fall, like root vegetables. It's just abundant deliciousness. So the food is a big part of it. So for this in-between retreat, there are lots of options, which you can always reach out to me about through email or on Instagram, wherever you're consuming this information. And right now through June 9th, so if you're watching this live, it's June 6th. So you have 3 days, so until Sunday. I'm running a little special for the first 5 people to sign up, and there's still 3 opportunities to get $75 off any of the rooms, private room, shared room. And there are other ways to save too. If you want to pay with cash, check, or Venmo, it saves all of us a little bit of money, which I think we can all agree we're all always looking for, which is nice. So that's kind of the logistical stuff. You've already experienced what it can be like, all the fun stuff. It is 100% always worth your time and participation and energy, because already you are not the same person that you were an hour ago. So thank you for being here and for your time. I went over than I said I would, which, when we get into it, there's so much to share. So that's really it. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to stay on a little bit longer, probably just a couple minutes, just to see if there's anything out there. But that's it. That's really it for right now. Thank you for practicing with me. I'm very friendly if you want to reach out for questions or conversations, even one-on-one, to share your experience. Sharing is great. So thank you for being here, everyone, from New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Ireland. We got it all. Love that. So I'll hang out, but otherwise, this is it. Thank you, Maddie. Appreciate you too.
Thanks, Katie. That was brilliant.
Thank you, James. I'll see you soon.